Hello, welcome to this tutorial series of system design, low-level design and application design series. I am Balasubramanian. Today we are going to look into coming up with a backend for tracking cricket matches and coming up with a design for a scorecard. So whenever somebody wants to track a tournament, they should be able to do it. And whenever they want to see the score of a particular match that is getting played or more than one matches, they should be able to see. We are just going to come up with a backend of a cricketing application. So with this, let us go into the actual requirements. I'm going to split this requirement or this video, the tutorial into two parts. One is coming up with a backend which has options related to teams, players, and other things. The other I'm going to dedicate it to the scorecard. How do we update the scorecard? So with this, we will be having two parts of this tutorial. Let's go into the requirements first. What is a cricketing ability? Many people would have watched cricket, but if for those who have not been familiar with cricket is a game which is played with bat and ball between two teams, and there are a lot of tournaments which are played. There are club matches which are played, and it is played between countries and other things. There are famous cricketing applications such as Crickbus, Cricket Info, all these things are there. So with that being the basic understanding, let's go into the actual requirements. So come up with a design for a cricket website. We should be able to track tournaments. uh, the tournament can contain multiple fixtures, so we should be able to add fixtures because a tournament is decided that it is going to be played in next year. It will contain multiple fixtures. The fixtures has to be played in multiple locations, can be played in multiple locations. uh, and this is about tournament, right? A tournament contain multiple matches. Matches are those which are played between teams. Fixtures is a just a fixture, but matches are actually played between teams, and usually two teams take part in a match. Matches are played in stadiums. So fixture will contain a location which is stadium, and matches are played in stadiums. uh, there are multiple stadiums, but one stadium can host one match at a time of the day. So the same stadium cannot host two matches at the same point of time. It's just to just an edge case, but yes, we have to understand that as well. Multiple teams can participate in a tournament. Usual minimum requirement for a tournament is two teams, and maximum can be n number of teams. Each tournament has a start date and an end date. A tournament starts on a date and a tournament ends on a date. Uh, the teams which are playing in the tournament can be representing a country, or can represent a club or whatever it is. So that's to do with the teams. Tournaments can be played by clubs or countries. Teams are chosen for a tournament because, for example, take an Indian team or England team or Australian team. Teams are not fixed. Teams are chosen for a particular tournament. So, what are the requirements for a team? A team may contain up to 14 players, and that's a mandate. A team may contain more than one coach. There can be specialized coaches for fielding, batting, other specific training, all these things. So the team may contain multiple coaches. A team may contain or include a doctor, a physio, and a manager. They are optional, but yeah, usually they may contain all these details as well. All these people as well. They are all part of the team. A team has a captain and a vice captain. So when we are coming up with a team structure should be like this. A team should contain 14 players. The composition of the team players are 14, and they may have more than one coaches and more than one specialty trainers, and they must have a captain and a vice captain. A team is composed of players who are of the following types, which is given like batsman, bowler, and wicket keeper. So they can perform these kind of activities. A batsman is a person who bats, who is a specialist in batting, and a bowler is a specialist person who can only bowl. They might not be having a batting skill, and a wicket keeper is a mix of a person who keeps wickets as well as he may bat or whatever it is. Uh, a match should contain a minimum of two innings, uh, because each team should be doing the batting as well as bowling. So why it should contain minimum two? It can be more than two as well. For example, consider match of a test match. They make a test match contain 4 innings. So the minimum innings in a match is two for it to have an outcome. Okay. Otherwise, the match is considered as cancelled. So that we will look into it later. A match starts with a task. For a match to start, people will the captains will do a task. A coin is tossed by one captain and asked by and somebody asked the other captain asked. A, a task has an outcome. Every task, right? Somebody wins, they may choose to bat or bowl. In terms of football, they may choose side or they kick, right? So similarly, in a cricket, somebody may choose that I will bat first or I will bowl first. A match involves following people, right? So a match is played between teams, as we said. A match contains more than one umpire. For example, minimum 3 to 4 umpires. A first umpire and a leg umpire, a third umpire and a fourth umpire. In case of injury, a fourth umpire will come. A match contains a referee who is in charge of the match. The referee decides what has to be done. An umpire monitors the entire match by saying that this is when the ball has to be bowled and all these things. So my umpire is in the stadium, a referee is outside the stadium. Outside means not in the field, outside the field. A match contain more than one scorers. Usually, this is not considered by many applications, but a match has a defined scorer, and the scorer's responsibility is to update the score. They may contain more than one scorer. Commentators. A match has a defined set of commentators for a particular type of site. So, for example, this application for this match, they may have two commentators. They will be commenting on this match. Uh, a bowler bowls overs and a batsman scores runs. This is how it is. If a bowler keeps bowling, there will be limitations on a bowler, how many overs that has to bowl, and all these things. Those are rules related to a match. We can track that in as a part of different requirement, but that can be said as well. Bowled balls and runs should be tracked on the scorecard. Who is bowling, how many overs the person is bowled, what is the current score. At any point of time, we should be able to get the score of a particular match. These are the set of requirements which I have been able to list it down. But the application, the design that we have come up with is able to handle a match statistics, a bowler statistics, a list of commentaries given by the commentator, and player statistics. All these things are being tracked as well as part of this design. So with with that being said, let us directly jump into the code part of it. So things start when we talk about cricketing application. It starts with the tournament because every series or everything has a tournament. So we will start with a tournament. Every tournament has a name, so we have a name here, and it is played between teams. It is played between list of teams, which is minimum two and maximum n. That's what we told. So we are using a list of team to track the teams. So we will look into what is the team little later, but just for looking at the tournament, let's look into the tournament. And they will have list of sponsors. uh, they will be awarding based on outcome of the tournament. This team will win this match, this team will win this match. So there will be list of sponsors that we are tracking, uh, and the start date of the tournament and the end date of the tournament. The tournament starts at a particular date and ends with ends on a particular date. Matches, a tournament will have minimum one to maximum n number of matches. So we will have the list of matches here, which is being tracked. A tournament has a winner and has a runner. We can track as many if we want to have a list of tournament positions. We can change that to list of team positions in the tournament. But considering this application, I've used a winner and a runner, and which is a minimum required. Or when things comes up, we should be able to change this into list of team standings. We can make it. So that's up to you. Take a checkout of this code and then raise a merge request to have it fixed. I'm okay with that. And a person for this tournament, there are specific awards which are given to people, right? For example, man of the series, bowler of the series, women of the series, best fielder of the series, highest wicket taker of the series, highest a bowler who bowled maximum number of maiden overs. All these type of awards can be tracked as part of this tournament. So that also is been part of the tournament which we are tracking. So why are we having this exhaustive design? Because if we have to come up with the tournament statistics and query the tournament, we should be able to track all these as part of the tournament. As I'm using Java for this application, I have used Lombok for having getters and setter and having my model tidy. So we have a constructor. So a tournament should have minimum this many. These are the mandatory fields for a tournament to be created. We have a tournament name and a start date and end date. Ideally, if a tournament is, you say, okay, if somebody decides that I have to have a tournament, they should have a name, start date, and end date, and we will be able to add matches and other things later. With that being said, let's go to the match part of it. Since tournament is the higher level of umbrella, in a tournament there are multiple matches which are played at any point of time. Then second level of object which I thought about is, which is good to explain, is match. So a match, it contains a match ID. A match is played on a tournament, so I just want to have a tournament ID as a cross reference here, so that at any point of time, if we have multiple matches played on a particular tournament, if we need to get that part of it, we need not go to do a join and other thing. So I'll get the match like this in a tournament. Mm, and a match is played between two teams. Oh, so there's something called teams between. We will look into that little later. A match is played on a venue, which is a defined venue, string venue. We are going to do it. A match has a task associated with it, which we told a match starts with a task. A match has a task associated with it. We will look into that what task object class is little later. Otherwise, a match starts at a particular time, a match ends at a particular time. So usually some matches start on day and then end in the evening. Some matches start in the afternoon and end in midnight, and some matches start in the night and ends in the night. So there are three ways where the match starts, and it can also spill over to the next day. For example, if the match starts little late in the night, it can spill over to the next day. So that way it is. A match is being umpired by list of umpires. A match contains a minimum of four umpires, which is the first umpire and the second umpire who is on the field, and a third umpire who is will be on the TV umpire, and the fourth umpire is a uh, is a backup umpire. When something happens in between, they will come in. So they will have a list of umpires. A match really has a winner. Outcome of a match will have a winner. So we are tracking the winning team here, and obviously we need to have the track the losing team as well. Uh, uh, so a match will have a match result. A match outcome of match should have an outcome, right? So we are tracking the outcome in an enumeration called match result. That also we will look into it after we go through all the properties of the match. A match has list of innings. So what is a list of innings? As I said, a match minimum will have two innings. First one team will bat or bowl, the other team also will bat or bowl. So both has to happen. Both teams has to bat and bowl for a match to have an outcome. At least for a minimum number of overs, they have to do both of the activities to have a defined outcome of it. So match will have a list of innings, and the innings will have an innings number. So what is there in the complex object innings? We will look into it later. A match has a list of commentators associated with it. Those are the people who would be commenting for a match, because this is being tracked by a particular website, right? Those website or those channels will add commentators to the particular match, and those people will be commenting for a particular match. A match has a, as I said, match has a list of scorers. They will be keeping the score for the particular match. Whenever a bowler bowls a maiden ball, bowls a maiden over, takes a wicket, and a batsman hits a run, and they hit four or six, that will be tracked by the scorer. A referee is in charge of the match. So these are all the properties of a match. And a match, for a match object to be created, a match has to be played between these two teams, any two teams, right? So for us to create or instantiate a match, we should minimum have the teams which are playing in the match. So that is the teams between is default is required for a match to be created, and all the others can be added post a match is instance is created. Okay, with that being said, we have we have missed some properties in the tournament. Let's look into the tournament, if we have missed any other properties. As we said, tournament had award types, right? So we will look into what is award types. Say a tournament will have a this is an enumeration, a person of series, which I don't want to call it as a man of series, because this can be this application can be used to track women's cricket as well. So it can be like person of series, and batter of the series, bowler of the series, fielder of the series, most wickets taken. If you want to take most catches, uh, all these things we can keep adding towards it, and as we have this, the award type will have a person associated with it. We should be able to do it. For example, if a tournament, if they are wanting to introduce some other award types, we should be able to extend this enumeration and do it. And the other, some things, if we want to remove, we need not add value to it. So obviously this becomes an extendable. If somebody wants to say that I want to award this way, it is easy. Just add an award type and associate a person, and only person is associated with it with a map. So we should be able to extend this award, multiple awards for a particular tournament. So our applications take care of the extensibility. With that being said, let's again jump to match. A match is played between teams, right? So let's go. What is the teams between? A teams between is something like association of a. It's a it contains two teams, right? Team one and team two. Every team has a playing members associated with them. So team one playing numbers and team two playing numbers. So this is how I'm going to track. So with that, let's look into the team, because even the tournament is has a structure called teams. Has If we go here, in the tournament, we have a tournament is played by lot of teams, minimum two teams, more and maximum one team. So we look into what is a team, composition of a team, how team is defined. A team contains a name. A team has a name. For example, Indian team, Australian team, Chennai Super Kings, Royal Challengers Bangalore, Delhi Daredevils, a county team, a county name, Berkshire team. So that way, a team will have a name. Okay, and the team is for a particular tour, so we have to give the tour name or the tournament name, right? So I have used tour name, and it is equivalent to the tournament name. For a team, it will have list of players associated with it who are all playing in this team are associated here. The list of players and a list of supporting staff. We will look into who are those supporting staff and other little later. But let's look into player. A player has a name, and a player has a responsibility, and a player has a player. A player is of this type. So what is player responsibility? A player responsibility is a, yeah, there are three types, right? One is captain. We said a team should have a captain, a team should have a vice captain, and the others are all normal players. So a player responsibility can be a captain, vice captain, and a player for a particular match. Captains are decided at the start of the tournament, but yes, if a captain has to retire or get hurt, so a captain gets replaced. So a player responsibility changes. So player has a player responsibility, and players are of different types. A player will be a bowler, a player will be a batsman, a player can be an all-rounder, a player can be a wicket keeper. So this is how a player can be of different types. So we are tracking all those types in a player, and a player extends a person. So so what is a person? So we'll go to the higher level of abstraction. A person has a name. A person has a personal info. uh, uh, so whenever we create a player should minimum have a name. If we take look into the constructor of it, whenever we are creating a player minimum should have a name. So that goes on instantiate this parent class, and a player has a personal info. So what is personal info? Player will have a first name, middle name, last name, initials, and the date of birth. So when the player is born, based on that, we can look into that. And players contact. So what are the details that we can track as part of this cricketing application? Usually when we look into the other applications of contact, we will have address, phone number, email id, and other details. since this is a publicly available website, I think personally that apart from their Twitter handle or whatever is the Facebook ID or whatever it is not good to track all those details. Ideally, every player will have a Twitter handle or something of that sort. So I'm just tracking their Twitter handle as part of the contact. I am not tracking any other things because these are personally identifiable information. This would be worth to mention here. With that being said, let's go into the player. So we have looked into the player, we have looked into the player's responsibility and the player type. Let's go into the match. A team. A team is where, so we have a lot of supporting staff for a particular team. A supporting staff is also a person who minimum should have a name. And what are the supporting staffs? A supporting staff can be of different types. Okay. Mm, let's go here, right? A coach. A coach is a supporting staff, and a supporting staff is a person. Okay, so it's a multi-level inheritance. We can see here. A coach is a supporting staff, and a supporting staff is a person. So whenever we need to create a coach should have a name associated with it, and that's the important thing that we. A coach is of different types, right? For example, a coach will be of a bowling coach, a batting coach, a fielding coach, a fitness coach, and a mental strengthening coach. So if you want to have different types of coach, we can create an extension based on the coach, and extend a coach and then have multiple coach types, like a fielding coach, batting coach, and whatever it is that can, the level of inheritance can go down one level, and we can have an enumeration to track as well. Either of these things, ideally extensibility is preferred over this enumeration, but it is up to you to how do you model it and justify the need of the hour. Okay, I'm not going to debate on that, but I could think of like these are the different types of coaches that we can have for a particular coach type. A doctor is a supporting staff. A team, as we said, right, initially a team's composition, they may contain multiple players, 14 players, right? That's what was the requirement. And multiple supporting staffs are coaches and doctors. Doctors also fall on part of a team. They can go to the tournament with that. A team can have a manager, okay, and a manager is a supporting staff. A physiotherapist for the team. A physiotherapist is a supporting staff. Similarly, if we can take a therapist, a team can have a therapist. A therapist is a supporting staff. So these are all the supporting staff which we looked into the team perspective, right? A team will have a list of supporting staffs. So if we need to add multiple supporting staff and who are of different types, we just need to create a supporting staff type which who inherits from the supporting staff, and then we will be able to come up with new supporting staffs. This way our solution again is extendable. If tomorrow for a team they may come up with a psychological coach or a TV coach or whatever it is, who does the analysis of a particular player by watching videos and then giving input, we should be able to do it. So this is just to emphasize on the extensibility of the project, or the solution, right? We have looked into the team now. Okay, now we will look into the other type of people who are involved in the cricketing application. We have looked at admin. An admin is an admin of the entire cricketing application. What an admin can do, they can add a tournament. An admin can add a tournament. An admin can add multiple matches, which is part of the tournament. We'll look into the functionalities little later as we go through it. An admin can add team to a particular tournament. An admin can add a player to a particular team. An admin can add umpires, an admin can add commentators, and admin can add a scorer. Uh, Admin can add a stadium which where the match is going to get played, and add a fixture for a particular tournament. So these are the responsibilities of an admin. An admin is a person as such, but the responsibilities of admin are totally different. He's not a Admin is not a player or directly involved in the cricketing match, but a person who is responsible for this entire backend. So that person is called admin here, and they have a list of functionalities. We would be able to add as many functionalities as we want, but this is what I could think of. We looked into coach. We have looked into coach types. The next person we can think about is a commentator. A match, as we said, that a match can have more than one commentators who will be commenting as part, who will be doing the commentary of it, right? They are designated people. They are associated with this cricketing backend, because multiple commentators can be part of multiple cricketing websites or channels or whatever it is. These commentators are part of the backend application. They are not directly involved in a match, but they are outside people who will be commenting on a match. So a commentator also is a person. So they will have profiles which are created, and they will have their first name, last name, and their Twitter handle as well. We should be able to track them like that. We the next we can think about. I think we have looked into umpires. Okay, we need to look into umpires. A match, as said, will have list of umpires. Umpire is again a person, and if we can have we can add some more properties like a number of matches he umpired, match types, whether it is one day or test. All these things can be tracked, but we are, as of now, we are not doing it. But that's a that can be left at for an exercise, and we can say that we have considered doing this as an extensive application. An umpire can have a list of matches the person umpired, the match types, how many decisions he has made, how many decisions he has referred to the third umpire, all these, and the list of tournaments that umpire has done, list of world series or international series the person has done. That all thing can be tracked, but an umpire is a person, is associated with a match that can always be derived out of it, but we can consider that as well. The other person is a referee. A referee is also a person. Similar, they are on field. They are not, the referee is not on field, but he is associated with a particular match. He or she is associated with a particular match. So with this, we are almost coming to an end of the people structure of a back-end cricketing application, right? Admin, umpires, team, match, supporting staff, they are all commentator, all part of this cricketing backend application. We can also have something like if we have to have persisted statistics, we can have some statistics as I mentioned, right, which are part of a particular player, right? Based on the match type, what is the match type? We look into it. That match type is a one day match, 2020 match, or whatever, first class match, or whatever it is. And how many matches the person is played, how many overs the person is bowled, how many runs they have scored. We need not compute it every time, right? We can have this persisted so that the query becomes easy as well, and it is easily readily available. And wickets taken, catches taken, how many times the person has done stumpings, what is the economy average when there is a bowler, and what is the average batting score or whatever it is. This all can be part of player statistics. Similarly, we can come up with something called umpire statistics, referee statistics, all these things which are available for reporting purposes or view purposes. With this, we have come into, we have discussed everything in and around people. Let us look into something around the match, team, and tournament. We have looked into match. We have not looked into match types. What are the different types of matches that can be played? The tournament can be for like a 2020 series tournament, a test series, one day series, first class match, county matches. These are all the match types. And suppose that if you have to add a different match type, we just need to add an enumeration. So which would be so one day match is a match which is played between teams. T20 match is a match which is played between teams. A test match is a match which is played between teams. So these are all the types of matches, and match types are also just an indicator to do it right. If we have to filter it like that, so that's how I have come up with the enumeration. But think of these are all the types of matches that can be played. And a first class match. A first class match is a match which is played between teams. So we have looked into something called innings, because a match contain more than one innings. We told, right, minimum two innings has to be there for a particular match, where one team will bat, the other team will bowl, and the other team will bowl, and the next team will bat. So it's as good as two teams has to do both responsibilities, bowling and batting, for a match to have an outcome. As I said, an innings. What are those innings? What are the properties of innings? An innings contains an innings number. What is the first inning, second innings, or whatever we can say, innings one and innings two. An innings contains list of overs associated with it. How many overs the team has bowled or batted, right? Innings number and the list of overs is a map. For an innings to be created, we need to have a innings number, and we are initializing the overs here. So this is what is about innings. Let's look into this. Since it has an innings, we will go into what is there in the over. Every batsman or a bowler bowls of over. Over consists of 6 balls minimum when it is bowled correctly. It may add up when they bowl different types of deliveries. We will look into that later. But we can what is a over? Let's look into that. A over has a over number, which is first over, second over, third over, fourth over. What are the runs scored in the over? How many runs are scored in that particular over? How many extras are part of that over? What are the total runs scored in the over? Okay, so I think that there is a mistake. We can correct it later. So run scored and total runs in over. Okay, run scored is the run scored by a batsman in the over. Extras is the extras given by the bowler or the keeper when they give up by, and total runs is the sum of runs scored plus extras. That's why we have kept it. And over contains a list of balls and the list of runs scored in the particular over, right? So if we keep adding to it, and finally it would be easy for us to entirely go through all the overs and come up and visualize what has happened in a particular match. So I have a model like this. For us to instantiate a over would have a minimum over number, because at the time of starting the over, it would have a over number. Otherwise, there will not be any balls or runs scored in that particular over, right? So that way, we have just created a over. So what is we can look into whether the over is a maiden over or not. We'll go and check all the balls. If the ball has not been scored, if none of the balls, if the player has scored any run, the over is considered as a maiden over. That's what we are checking. If over is a maiden over, get wickets in over. For all the balls, we will check how many wickets the bowler has taken as part of the particular over, and we will say these are the wickets taken in the over. So, every over contains a ball and a run. So, what is there in the ball? A ball belongs to a particular over. Okay, so that's a over number. A ball will be of different types. Okay, let's look into that little later after we looked into the ball. A ball is bowled by a person. A ball is faced by a person, which is a ball is bowled by a bowler, and ball is faced by a batsman. So bowled by and faced by a ball can have runs, right? So what are the run types? A ball can a, a bowler can take a wicket in the ball. What is the wicket? And a commentary associated with the ball. Since this is an application, I have associated a commentary with a particular ball, so that for every ball, what is the commentary also we should be able to take. But we can take this out as a commentary as a separate thing outside and associated ball to it, so that that can be viewed. It is up to us to come up with that design. But yeah, this is how I have thought of in the time that I can think of. As discussed, for us to create a ball, right? An instance of a ball will have a over number. It is bowled by and faced by. These are very important things. So a bowler cannot simply bowl to the stumps. It can faced by can be null when it is a super or a decider over where a bowler has to bowl directly to the stumps. But otherwise, this is what I can think of as a ball. We have list of ball types, right? A ball will be a normal ball, which is a correct ball. Uh, uh, it can have a score associated with it. A normal ball is a valid ball on which a batsman can score a run or need not to score a run. A ball can be a wide ball, a ball can be a no ball, and a ball can be associated with a wicket ball. So these are the type of balls that I have come up with. Um, and run type, oh god, it's a big thing. So let's look into it. There are different types of runs that can be scored in a ball, right? But that's only fixed set of. it falls under an enumeration. There cannot be more than a different type of run which can be stored beyond this, right? Zero runs associated with it, which is a maiden ball. There's nothing called maiden ball, but no runs scored with a ball. Okay, can score one, two, three, four, and a six. Okay, so if we have to group it together, one, two, three, four, six. Uh, a ball can be wide. These are all called extras. One wide, two wides, three wides, four wides, five wides. If you want to go little deep into how what wide is, please go and look into the Wikipedia, understand about cricket, and then understand and come back and look into the video. And the these are all extras, right? These are all valid runs in a ball, and these are all uh, these are all the extras, which is wide is a type of extra. There'll be zero no ball, one no ball. Zero no ball means it's a no ball but no run scored. One no ball is a no ball plus one run scored. Similarly, two no balls is a no ball plus two runs scored. Three, four, six. So that's how it is. Uh, and There cannot be five runs in cricket, so it is either four or six. Four no balls means no ball plus four runs, which will be five runs added to the total. These are all other types of extra. One buys is something when a bowler bowls and the wicketkeeper doesn't gather the ball correctly in between, batsman has crossed, taken a run, it is considered as buy. One buy, two buy, three buy, and four buys. Uh, and what is that? The other option is leg by. So batsman has not striked with a bat, but they have uh, it has touched some of their body part and meant, and it is called as a leg buys. Ideally, it can be touching from the shoulder. Also, it is considered as leg by. So one leg by, two leg by, three leg bys, four leg bys. So these are the different possibilities of runs. A batsman, a ball can score. A score associated with it. These are different types of runs. It can be overthrow as well, but overthrows are associated with even on a overthrow a batsman runs, it is added to their score. If my understanding is right, let's look into the wicket. Uh, a wicket has a wicket type. We will look into the wicket type later. But who is the player who got out? Who is the player who bowled the ball? Whether the player is caught by or stumped by or run out by or whatever it is. So this is called these are the attributes which we need to capture as part of a wicket. So for us to create a wicket, we need to have a wicket type. Who is the player which got out? Who is the player who bowled by? And all the attributes are mandatory. It can be null, but it is mandatory for us to create this wicket type. A wicket. So what are the wicket types? A player can get out by these are the modes using in using the player can get out, right? Not using these are the ways the player can get out. They can be bowled, they can be caught, they can be run out, they can hit the wicket and get out, they can get stumped, they can be caught out by showing their leg before the wicket when the ball is bowled without offering a shot. They can be obstructing when the ball comes in, and they can be retired hurt. These are the types of wickets that we can talk about it. And with that being said, let's go to the ball commentary. Okay, so that's a good thing. So a commentary is so when you have to create a commentary, so a commentator is doing the commentary. So for us to create a commentary, we have given an all hours constructor. A commentator is mandatory and a comment is mandatory. So these are attributes of a commentary. So a ball is associated with all these properties. As we looked into the over content list of balls, let's look into the run. A run contains what is the amount, the runs, number of runs scored. And then we have already looked into the run types. These are the possible types of runs which the player can score. So with that, sorry, which are being said, let's go into the over. So we have completely looked into the over. We have looked into the ball. We have looked into the run, and we have looked into the innings. Let's look into the fixture. A fixture is something. If a tournament is to be played, sometime we will say that this is when the match will happen. That those are called fixtures. And And a fixture is associated with a tournament, and it is played between two teams, which we looked into it. And the teams will have team one and team two, and they will have list of players associated with it. If we have. And stadium, uh, a, a, uh, a, a fixture happens on a particular day, time, and when it is a start time. We don't know when it will end, so usually it will have start time. So let's look into what is a stadium. A stadium is a place where a match is played. A stadium will have a stadium name, which is like M.A. Chidambaram Stadium, Chinnaswamy Stadium, all these kind of stadiums, and it can have an address associated with it. So, what is there in the address, which is a global thing where this is how we can track on the address, where it address line one, line two, line three, city, street, state, country, and then pin code or zip code, wherever, whatever it is. So we should be able to track the stadium like this, right? Uh, so with that being said, let's go to the fixture. So we have looked into the fixture, we have looked into the innings, we have looked into the match, and different types of matches. We have looked into over, uh, and this first class match is also a type of match. So with this, I think we have looked into all the properties associated or all the classes which are getting involved in a particular cricketing backend application. I don't want to get into the score part of it. As we said, we have looked into task. Not sure, but let me explain it again. A task has some which is tasked by, asked by, who wants it, and task action. And task action can be either batting or bowling. So after winning a task, a team can choose whether they want to bat or bowl. With that, let's look into some of our driver code. Okay, I want to keep this tutorial little short because I've receiving a lot of comments about your tutorials are little lengthy, and that's why I've abstracted out the scorecard part of it, which is little complex when it comes to how do we have the scorecard itself all together. So this is the code which we are here. We are initializing the tournament. A tournament is equal to new tournament, which is called Gavaskar Border Series, which is usually played between India and Australia. And it starts with some random date, which is day today plus 7 days, and it ends after 14 days. It's played between for 14 days. So we have initialized one team, which is Indian team, and the next team is Australian team because the Gavaskar Battle series is associated with it. Let's go into our team. As we said, a team would be initialized with a team name, and a team is for a particular tournament name. So we have said that a team and the tournament name. This need not be hard coded string here. It can be from the tournament dot name. That's a very simple thing. Control V. Tournament dot get name. So it can be like this. So we are going to initialize the team, and then we are going to get the squad. Okay. So we have initialized a team should contain 14 players and the list of supporting staffs. That's what we have looked into. We have list of players, and we start our Indian team with our captain MS Dhoni. Uh, Captain is Dhoni for me, but yeah, that's okay. So the next person, Kohli, Sharma, Dhawan. So these are the players we have added, and a player will have, as we said, player will have a responsibility. This player's responsibility is captain, and the player type is a wicket keeper, a specialized wicket keeper. Dhoni is a wicket keeper. Kohli is a vice captain, and he's also a batsman. Rohit Sharma is a player. His responsibility is a player, and he's a batsman. Similarly, if we can keep looking into it. We can have one more person. We will have one more person called Dinesh Karthik, whose specialty is wicket keeper. Let's look into somebody, Sir Ravi Jadeja. He's a player and his responsibility is bowler. Chahal is bowler. Kuldeep is a bowler. Kedar Jadhav is an all-rounder. Similarly, we have players whose responsibility is defined, whose role is also defined. We are written in the list of players. Similarly, if we go here, we have supporting staffs. So we are adding new supporting staff, which is the coach. Coach is Gary Kirsten, bowling coach who is Kumble, who has a manager. Team has a manager. This all data are taken from Wikipedia, and we have a team physio, is Nishin Patel, and we are adding the supporting staff to the team, and then the tournaments team is added. Indian team is added to the tournament. Similarly, we have the Australian squad. Australian squad has team members like Finch, Khwaja, Warner, and their responsibilities. And we have added get a squad, Australian squad there. And one interesting thing we have to note: Australian team has supporting staff and who has a specialized coach named Sridhar and Sriram. Uh, it's just information as part of this tutorial. This information I got from Wikipedia. Australia has a coach who's of Indian origin. Good to know. And for this in this tournament, uh, have added uh, I have added this team to the tournament, and we are adding sponsors, which is Hero Motors and AMC. Have just come up with name. It's not to hurt somebody or promote somebody as well. A tournament will have fixtures where the tournament is going to get played. I'm creating a fixture, and then a fixture is created for a tournament, and it is played between this Indian team and Australian team. A fixture happens on a particular stadium, and it is played on this date. So we have created three fixtures, and we are creating an admin here. Cricket admin or whatever is the backend name, and the admin is trying to add a stadium, so they should be able to add. This goes to an in-memory hash map. We should be able to see it because it's an in-memory application. It's not persisted. It's not a web application as of now, but it can be scaled to a. It can be the repository can be made to a backend, and we should be able to do it. This we are looking into the objects and the classes as of now. And admin is adding a tournament. We looked into it, right? Okay, we have not looked into the responsibilities clearly. Let's look into it as part of final step. And admin is adding a tournament. Is checking if the tournament already exists. If don't add, because it is called idempotency, we even if when somebody double clicks or whatever, it is accidentally add, it should not get added twice. So we are doing put if absent in the fast map, and probably in database also you'll go and check whether the tournament. So the add match, using add match, admin should be able to add a match to a particular tournament. We will check whether the tournament exists or not, and if it exists, then we can add match to the tournament. Add a team. A team is added to a particular tournament. If the tournament exists, we'll go and add the team. Otherwise, we will throw an exception that invalid tournament. Add a player to the team. So we are adding a player to a particular team, which team belongs or team is selected for a particular tournament. So we'll go and check whether the tournament exists, whether the team exists. If both exist, we will add a player to the particular team for a particular tournament. That's how it goes. An umpire. So we are trying to add an umpire where umpire is for a particular match. We'll go and check whether the match exists. If the match exists, we can add an umpire to a particular match. Add commentator also works in the similar way. We'll go and check whether the match exists, because umpires are commentators and umpires and referees, scorers are all for a particular match. It is not to do with a particular tournament. So we will go and check whether the match exists, else it throws an exception. Otherwise we can add an umpire. Similar is commentator and scorer as well, as we said. Stadium, it is to keep track of all the stadiums. We will go and add the stadium to a particular stadium, the list of stadiums that we have. We also check whether the fixture, when we are coming up with the fixtures for a particular tournament, we will go and check whether the tournament exists. Even if the fixture doesn't exist, add to it, and else if it doesn't exist, add to it, else ignore it. This is what we are trying to do. And these are the operations of admin which we wanted to look into while we are doing it. So an admin is adding a stadium, an admin is adding a tournament, an admin is adding a team here. Please take a look and look into the code and run it and see on by yourself. So here admin is adding a fixture to a particular tournament, and admin is adding so a match. So we are initializing a match. This match is for a one-day match, and say match ID is it starts with Bangalore, India versus Australia, match 1. Why are we saying like this? Because a match ID should be little not match ID should be unique. So it is played in the venue. I have come up with a particular ID like this. So you can have any ID whatever way you think of, and the match is played for a particular tournament and setting the venue for it. And admin is adding a match. So similarly, an umpire is added. List of umpires are added. I'm coming up with umpires whose first is Venkat Raghavan, whom I am familiar with, Nitin Menon, who is an ICC accredited umpire, and Alim Dar, who is also a great umpire. So all these umpires are added to a particular match, which is the one-day match that we have created. And match has these umpires. A referee, as we said, we have a referee to a particular match. Srinath is a known referee. I am adding Srinath to as a referee to the particular match. We and admin should add a commentator. Ian Botham and Sunil Gavaskar are known commentators. So we are adding those commentators to a particular match. Match has a task associated with it. That it is tasked by Finch and it is asked by Dhoni, and the task is won by Indian team and they ask for bowling. And we have list of scorers associated with it. With the match, we have scorer 1 and scorer 2. We can name whatever way we want. We are adding a scorer to a particular match. And with this being said, I think we have come to the end of this tutorial. The part 1 of the tutorial on the cricketing backend application, where we looked into the models that we can come up with and what are their responsibilities associated with this backend application, and then we have tested it. I think we can just download the code and run it. While you run it, you will get the score as well. We will look at the scorecard little as part of the second part of this tutorial. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel if you have not done, and thanks for your time. Until we look into the next tutorial. This is Balasubramanian. Bye.